Désintégrations is a piece by French spectral composer Tristan Murail for 17 instruments and tape. So it's for chamber orchestra and electronics. The instrumentation for the orchestra, 2121, 1110, 2 percussions, piano, 11111. Flute 1 doubles on piccolo, flute 2 doubles on alto flute, oboe doubles on English horn, clarinet 2 doubles on bass clarinet, bassoon doubles on contrabassoon, trombone has to play both tenor and bass, it looks like, and the double bass can use a 5-string, so that hints to me that he may need the low C, he or she. May need the low C on that bass. And percussion 1, the complete list is vibraphone, crotales spanning 2 octaves, C to C, high tam-tam, gong pitched to B flat, bass drum, timpani pitched to F and G, low F and G, high muted tom, high muted bongo, long low guiro, 2 maracas, 1 high, 1 low, wood rattle, and anything that can produce the sound of a spring releasing its tension. Percussion 2 has tubular bells from middle C to F, marimba, glockenspiel from low G to high C, Chinese cymbal, 3 hanging cymbals, so very high, high, and medium, 2 tam-tams, low and medium, medium muted tom, low muted bongo, high guiro, a wooden rattle, a whip, a wood block, and a spring like thing, similar to percussion 1, but slightly lower. Désintégrations was composed after extensive work on the notion of spectrum. All the material used in the piece, its microforms, its system of evolution, have it as their origin analyses, decompositions, or artificial reconstructions of harmonic or inharmonic spectra. Most of the spectra are of instrumental origin. Those particularly employed are low piano sounds, brass, and cello sounds. So here, Murail has recorded various sounds on different orchestral instruments that are in his ensemble, and then he has produced a spectrogram of them, or similar data, and then, based on his spectral analysis, taken frequencies from them and designed his piece with that data. Some of the different spectra, like the way he plays with it, so sometimes he'll just use one region of a spectrum, so just some of the partials, sort of like a band pass filter was applied to the sound. Then sometimes he'll explore the spectra, so different elements are heard one after another. So this could be like if you took that recording and separated its constituent partials in time and it became some bizarre melody. The creation of inharmonic spectra, so by adding or subtracting frequencies to the list. This is like a ring mod or a frequency modulation, and this was a project at EarCam, as many spectral pieces of the time were. And yeah, keep in mind that this is 1983, the year of its first performance, and computer technology is very, very in its beginning stages. So this is very cutting edge technology to be using a computer to help you compose. He did this with help of Andrew Gerzo and Didier Arditi. So the electronic sounds were produced by a computer, and this was such a large task for the composer that he had 2 technical assistants. And The premiere was by Ensemble Intercontemporain, which we've listened to already in a number of episodes. I'll list them below. They premiered all these pieces that we've looked at in this series. And it was conducted by Peter Eötvös. Quarter tone accidentals, pretty standard stuff. Other symbols, he has moving from different types of tremolo, degrees of tremolo, some aleatoric repetition of stuff. Niente symbols, this is old enough that niente hasn't been standardized. Some rhythmic stuff, which will probably make more sense in context. Your standard string indications, non-vibrato, sol pont, sol tasto, gradually moving from one bow position to the other. Overpressure distortion, and gradual increase and decrease of that. And then the opposite, light pressure, like quasi-flautando kind of stuff on the strings. So you can see this is the first system. And it starts with tape stuff, clicks and swells, and these huge chords, which are filtered. And then we have, starting off the piece, the two flutes, the two clarinets, vibraphone, and tubular bells, I believe. We'll hear it when we start listening. He was born in 1947 and is still alive today. Did university studies in Arabic and economics before studying at the Paris Conservatoire, where he studied composition with Messiaen, taught computer music at IRCAM later, and then assisted with the development of patchwork composition software. And then in 1973, this is the important bit for the history of spectral music, he was a founding member of Ensemble Itinéraire. And Ensemble Itinéraire is really the hub of spectral music. That's why the movement really starts in 1973, and why some of the bigger, like some of the earliest works are like Partials, which is 1975. This one is 1983, so it's a bit further into the movement. As stated in the program note to this piece, his music has a tendency to use fundamental properties of sound as the basis of harmony. So these are analogous to processes of electronic music composition, FM, RM, AM synthesis, and modulation, filtering, things like that. If you'd like to have access to the recording that I'm listening to, it's in the description of the video. I'm going to probably find a scrolling score so you can also watch along with me. And I'll let you know my thoughts on this listen after getting into it. Okay, so unfortunately I was not able to find a score video, but I decided to go with this recording here. This is Ensemble Itinéraire, so it's the same ensemble that premiered the work, but this is a 1987 recording. The last time I listened to this was in the context of a spectralism seminar, and we'd already listened to a lot of Murail at that point. Yeah, I can see how it's an important mainstay of the movement, and it was something that somebody just had to do, like really get hands-on with the synthetic sounds and merge them with ensemble writing, and I think it does a very good job of that. The opening is very iconic, and the moment about 4 or 5 minutes in where we suddenly get high sparkly stuff and rapid figuration is a very striking moment, which sort of follows us to the end of the piece. And I think a lot of spectral composers have done similar things when they've worked with electronics since. Yeah, it was a lot slower than I remember. The gestures were a lot bigger, and I think towards the end, the gestures get very long, and it's requires a lot of concentration to get through it. In general, I think there's these like big, like forceful, like articulations of sound which trail off for a long time, and not so many. Like sometimes it builds up to it as well, but it's not incredibly contrapuntal. I don't think. I think it is very much like textural and harmonic. Like the chords are really important, and where you end up landing, it means a lot. There's a lot of really big climactic moments which are essentially just a chord that the ensemble lands on. Like the Ramatelli we looked at yesterday, it's using almost all of the ensemble all the time, regardless of what families of instruments are involved. So there's not a lot of soloistic stuff. Another piece that we looked at in this series for chamber ensemble and electronics, which was like this, was Bhakti by Jonathan Harvey. And I think the Harvey had a little bit more variety in terms of like subsections of the ensemble being used, and greater variety of gestures being used with the electronics versus the ensemble. Whereas this is pretty much just one or two ideas for 22 minutes. Like it's very monothematic, you could say. Tomorrow we will be listening to some Webern to close off the entire series. So hard to believe that I've already gone through all the chamber orchestra stuff, but it's been a pleasure, and I'm finding a lot of pieces to become obsessed with.